Accra, the vibrant capital of Ghana, holds immense economic promise. Nonetheless, this potential is stifled by key mobility and accessibility challenges. Workers spend precious hours stuck in traffic instead of contributing to the economy. In this context of uncontrolled motorization, the vulnerable suffer the most.
Say, with the traffic ma, a consu fuel, force in the intimacy. Now, where the traffic miss, especially over Casua here. Casua, how many hours let's say would differ how to Casua? Casua, why do you 45 and I say, and so Casua say, no special, no, the 2 hours, 5, every day, 2 hours, 30 minutes. And they do Casua. How?
Secaka is any bar, and I feel you want more. Na abapi sene dan ne ho a kaas ne dan ne ho akwa na sade wona abapi so sade aso abapi so na sade aso abapi so na ni na atwoku na ka nketua no entumi enya ba bia emfa
me ka say one time bi na me twam ha me hwe ka lekwe me hu se ka aba maso me ni feli me enso maso feli maso ti sharp se ka aba na me dwane call center me dwane na at once ka be twen wo me chepe hwim na okoye.
Sometimes people will be there finding car to go to their various places. They will not get car. Maybe the car will come, it will be full. Later on, like every time before they'll get car to their various places. That's the problem that we face for them.
GUMAP stands out as a unique project in the transport sector. Its approach has been to look beyond the conventional infrastructure-focused transport projects, such as the building of roads, interchanges, bridges, amongst others, and to focus on all dimensions of institutional and capacity-building efforts, which supports the governance of urban mobility and traffic management, data collection, dissemination of best international practices, trainings, and technical assistance.
GUMAP in Ghana was a first. So it really had to look into strengthening the capacities of the government institutions. In the case of Ghana, this is the Ministry for Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development. The project did that through a series of studies, workshops with international and national consultants. It also conducted a first-time ever household survey on mobility. The project also established a collaboration on the level of universities. This was between the KNUST and the École Polytechnique in Lausanne, so that students will also have access to curricula teaching them on urban mobility and accessibility.
10 years ago, there was a real shortage of data and studies about urban mobility in the Greater Accra metropolitan area, GAMA. It was one of GUMAP's main objectives to remedy this shortage. There was also the prospect that the links with the international community in urban mobility would be cut. So it was also a key objective of GUMAP to ensure that the links with the international practitioners be maintained. I think that everybody involved in the sector was highly conscious of these obstacles and welcomed GUMAP as a means to begin to address them.
GUMAP's achievements were highlighted during the Urban Mobility Forum, which was held on July 2nd, 2024 at the project's closeout event.
In every locality where there is a problem about mobility and accessibility, there is a district authority, i.e. Metropolitan Municipal Assembly. And so we are important, they are important, stakeholders are everybody, just to find a multifaceted solution to the problem.
Before GUMAP came in, the indicators for assessing the assemblies were totally bereft of anything mobility. There was no mobility indicator. But then through the instrumentality of GUMAP, a few mobility indicators were actually inserted into the entire performance tool. And we think that that's very good.
I think GUMAP has come to lift up the level of technical training that public sector officials into transport or the built environment can receive. And that, I think, broadened our horizon on the level of technical issues to deal with, and also to look at what the needs are for the communities that we serve.
From the few assemblies that had the transport department set up, the kind of training that GUMAP provided has been really inspiring. Bringing these few assemblies together, letting them understand the role of the transport department in executing the regulatory mandate of the MMDAs for public transport and its related activities. With all the resource persons, the kind of training that were put together, I believe we've been very much enlightened about how to go about with all these regulatory activities. So GUMAP has been very impactful.
Right from the get-go, most of the data that were generated, the reports, were put into a digital storage, a cloud storage, where we're able to access the data. And from there, we have seen that there has been an incremental number of data that have been collected, right from data on routes, data on transport operators, data on fleets of vehicles for the transport operators. We have seen data on socioeconomic data, which is more like the census that was done, the household transport data survey, which have all yielded a great treasure trove of data.
If you look at the GUMAP agenda, it is directed towards sustainable mobility in Accra, mobility and accessibility. This agenda cuts across several phases, be it food security, health, economic growth, infrastructure, city and urban population in terms of human settlements. Because if you look at the way forward, mobility and accessibility, all the phases that I have mentioned, nobody moves to a health center without transporting himself through a vehicle. So it cuts across. So through this particular project, though a statistician, I've been able to expand my horizon when it comes to not only collecting data, but the fact that you're able to integrate mobility and accessibility across all these facets.
This project had 3 components, I believe, and component 3 was on capacity building for the transport sector, which involved a collaboration between Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, and we represented KNUST, and then Transport Lab and Trace Lab at the Polytechnique Fédérale de Lausanne, or EPFL. Originally, we were running a master's program which was in road and transport engineering, and we needed to deepen some aspects and introduce aspects in traffic modeling, intelligent transport systems, and then transport demand modeling. We identified that the Trace Lab at EPFL had competency in these areas. So working with the professors there, Nicolas and Michel Belle, and the other team, we managed to revamp our master's program. We did so to include new courses, and these new courses have been run since almost 6, 7, 8 years.
To complement institutional strengthening and capacity building efforts, small-scale demonstrative projects are being implemented at 6 locations in the Greater Accra metropolitan area. These are Mambo Junction at Soweto in the Gas Central Municipal Assembly, Otublohum Obibini intersection in the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, Babayara Padmore intersection in the Tema Metropolitan Assembly. 3 Junction at Amasaman in the Gan West Municipal Assembly. Ogbojo New Market intersection in the La Nkwantanan Madina Assembly. Ashoman Alafia intersection in the Ga East Municipal Assembly.
So basically, we're looking at 2 key factors: pedestrian safety and then improving mobility at this particular junction to ensure that we don't have congestion. As we can see, sometimes we have the truck drivers parking close to the junction. Then you have vehicles turning in. You have the large trucks also coming in. So the whole place is messy. And then there was a need to intervene to ensure that we have orderly flow of vehicles at the junction. And then we also ensure that we don't have any sort of accidents between pedestrians and the vehicles.
These 6 beneficiary assemblies are getting some interventions at junctions where after the projects you'll be seeing walkway improvements, you'll be seeing lane marking, overlay, you'll be seeing defined crossing points for people who move within that particular section of the area. So that one will enhance the area in terms of safety. And that's what we expect to see when the project or the works are done by the contractors.
So when you come to where I am, we had a junction improvement plan at 3 Junction. It's a very conflicting junction, but they are coming in with their policies and then all the traffic stuff we have done there. That is what we seek to do, and it's one of the things they have done.
Linking theory and practice was critical for this project, and that is what resonates with me very well. The KNUST factor, students graduated with urban tailor-made courses. It's a unique thing that had happened, and they are going to pursue it to ensure that there's a partnership between academia and practice to ensure that the issues of urban mobility and in general urban development are dealt with this current or modern tools in urban planning.
Accra is growing very fast. In fact, demographically and economically, it has an impact in terms of mobility. From the studies we have conducted under Ghana Urban Mobility and Accessibility Project, we have seen that the number of trips per day will be multiplied by 2 by 2035. So there is a big challenge for Ghanaian authorities to manage that mobility growth. The car-centric approach is not a solution, it's a dead end. There is a need to implement a multimodal system. So the challenge for Accra metropolitan area in the coming 10 years is to plan a new transport system with, as a backbone, a mass transit system. It could be bus rapid transit or railways that will help people to move, to commute to Accra city center. And public transport is not the only solution. We have to develop here some streets that will allow people to walk easily when they have some short distance trips to make. In fact, you could in 15 minutes cycle 4 kilometers very easily in some cities. And you have now some African cities developing cycling policies also in order to solve mobility issues of people.
The preparation for tomorrow must start today. GUMAP has contributed its quota to laying a solid foundation towards a much-needed urban mobility vision and strategy for Accra. The time to act is certainly now.